So what's the deal? Are we in a recession or not? If you go by the old definition of what a recession was, which was 2 consecutive quarters of negative growth for the GDP, that would indicate that America is in a recession. But if your current administration decides to, let's say, change the definition of it, then maybe we're not. So what is the new terminology for a recession? Well, there actually isn't one. But instead of going by the basis and the widely understood premise of if your GDP goes down, you're in a recession, what is the new metric of a recession? Well, the Biden administration has left it up to, and I really have no idea how they get this name for it, the Business Cycle Dating Committee. So you could basically just arbitrarily pick some sectors of business that are doing very well, use that as data to encompass an entire nation's economy, and say, look, we're not in a recession, we're doing just fine because of this little tiny piece of information. I'm not saying that anyone in the world ever manipulates data or media, but let's just say I don't know how that definition could ever be used because it's not really a definition. It's just taking little pieces of data and expanding it over a country with 334 million people and saying, don't worry, you can sleep well at night. Jobs will be safe. Inflation doesn't exist. John Wick isn't coming for you. But I kind of noticed that food is really expensive. Jobs are being lost. Banks have maybe been, I don't want to say lying, but altering the truth for the last 3 years, almost resembling the way they altered truths in reality back in 06 and 07. So what was the result of that? That's why we're here today. Let's talk about some real data and you can decide what you think about that data. It's just data. It has nothing to do with bias or any type of manipulation of data. You decide what to do with real data. Recently released news, major US banks like JP Morgan, Citibank, Wells Fargo, Bank of America have just come out and reported over $520 billion worth of less deposits held. What does that mean? Bank deposits from us, you, me, them, we, everybody, are what a bank can hold as assets. That's what it uses to invest. That's what it uses to generate profits. That's how it gives you those monumentally high interest rates that they give you, like 0.4% while charging you infinitely more. But that's just my opinion. Maybe that's made up too. So why would people take out $520 plus billion from major US banks? Maybe because they're not stupid and they see where the money's going. They see where the dollars are going. They want to be able to spend their money. They don't want to have the risk of it being locked out against them. Just telling you what the people on the street are thinking, and when they're taking out over $500 billion just recently, it's clearly on a few people's minds. And this is just out of the big banks. We haven't even talked about the regional banks yet. We're not going to even get into the regional banks because you know what that looks like. Silicon Valley Bank, have you heard that one? Yeah, they're not doing so well, are they? Well, where they got broken up and sent to are going to be doing very well because, a little bit of bailout money here, bailout money there. The big banks can buy up the good assets from the smaller ones that have to go. But where does that leave you and I? I'm going to leave that one on you to figure out. One more time. Depositors have removed over $520 billion from the major US banks as of late. This is the biggest withdrawal since the '07 into '08 collapse. That's real information. Another piece of real information or data is that the KBW Bank Index is down 26% in the last 5 weeks. Yeah, you might want to look that one up. The following is just a small list of banks and how their deposits have dropped. JP Morgan from 2.55 down to 2.35 trillion dollars. 200 billion taken out like that. Bank of America held 2.05 trillion dollars and now it's only 1.85. Another 200 billion dollars no longer in there. And the screen's turned off. The money's all gone. That's how quickly money burns. Wells Fargo held 1.48 trillion worth of bank deposits. Recently, that's dropped to 1.36. Over another $100 billion. All right, we're back. So, there is no bias in this information. We do make a few subtle jokes and funny faces, but this is just data. We're hoping this data is actually correct when it's released. I'm not saying like before, I'm not implying that banks would falsify information. Why would they do that? What reason would they have to not tell us what their numbers are, what their mortgages look like, what are the coming interest rates? Will we be able to afford to eat in 6 months? That's all speculatory. But tangible deposits are not. So what you take out of here is completely on you. There's a panic right now. We're in a year straight worth, 4 or 5 quarters of economic downturn. You take this data and decide how you're going to put it into your life to prepare for what's coming for the next 12 to 24 months. Because this isn't something that can be cleaned up with printing a little more money or well-wishing or changing of definitions. Survival needs to happen and you need to plan it out. If you like this kind of content, hit like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Please leave any responses or questions that you have on more information or videos that you would like us to make. We're more than happy to research areas that we're not currently talking about to build a video that you would like to see. And like we said, we have no affiliations. We're not leaning in either way. We just basically want to get you the information that you want to hear as unbiased as it can possibly be. So, hope you like this episode. Got another one coming at you next week. But for now, we are out of here.